Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the final session of the forum. Just to give you a quick sense of what's happening over the next hour and a half, first of all, we're going to have 3 student papers, the same format as yesterday, so there'll be 3 10-minute papers in a row, followed by questions to them all. Anthony will then have to dash off, so we'll give him a round of applause as he leaves afterwards. And then finally, we've got this concluding discussion, which I've allocated an hour for, but we probably won't need an hour for. And what we'll do is, and this, I'm telling you now so you can think about it, rather than having a sort of, unmanageable, rambling conversation, we're just going to go round the table. I know that's probably, it horrifies everyone. And just... we're asking everyone to just, if there's anything they want to say about what they've heard, anything that's stuck in their mind, anything they've wanted to say and haven't been able to say, or even just a paper they enjoyed or an idea they're going to take home with them, that would be great. You can talk for a few minutes, you can say 4 words, whatever you want. It's just nice if everyone can have a think about what they're going to take away from what they've seen and heard. Okay, so let's begin with our first student paper of the afternoon. This is Bella Jacobs, who's an MA candidate at the Department of Art History and Visual Studies at UVic. And your paper is called Leveraging Artificial Intelligence, an Experiment in Decolonizing Art. Bella, over to you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. So today for my presentation, I will kind of expand on the ongoing topic of decolonizing AI and art. Specifically through a lens of Indian art, as that's what I'm studying. So first, to get some thought juices / brain juices flowing, I've got 3 images generated by 3 different AI text image systems. So just take a look at them and maybe blurt out a guess of what the prompt is. I've used very simple prompts because I just wanted to see what it would show. Any ideas?
Portrait of a woman.
Okay.
Portrait of a woman with yellow, blue, and red.
Okay. Well, it is actually art. So I wanted to see how freely the AI could interpret this concept based on its data sets. And so my question now is, do you think that these images truly represent art or a global perspective of art? So I wanted to start my discussion by thinking about what it means to decolonize art. So art history and many other disciplines are kind of at critical times in reckoning with their own histories. So art history often said to be based on the conquest and collection of exoticized objects, initially taken for their uniqueness and disregarding their value as cultural things. Additionally, collecting allowed for categorization, and during the British colonization of India, the collecting of objects allowed British to manipulate India's public image and what has been described as an unruly and disorderly past. So to move forward, we have to look into the past, uncover some overlooked histories, and incorporate them into our future. It is a commitment to change that's important, but what does it mean to decolonize AI, and how does that intersect with art history? A compelling description of AI comes from Mushanzi Raviv, who in a lecture series described AI as a machine attempting to create a totalizing map of knowledge from a view from nowhere. Echoing Donna Haraway's Donna Haraway's concept of a view from nowhere in map making. This implies that AI, marketed often as capable of human-like thinking and learning, is supposedly unbiased and universal. However, this is far from the truth. AI systems are far from neutral, and they're shaped by their creators and the data sets they are trained on, most of which originate from the global north. A non-art example, the bias is starkly evident in healthcare, where AI is used to enhance precision and innovation. So an example is with genomic research, what can be used to understand genes that cause or prevent disease. 86% of studies focus on genes from white European ancestry, even though this group represents only 12% of the global population. There is already a push to decolonize AI, which involves a huge overload of updating and inputting a more diverse range of information. Of course, this comes with its own problems, as companies often use ghostwriters to input this information, who can be overworked and underpaid. The push to decolonize AI has been met with a decolonial manifesto, kind of coming from signed by many, who argue that AI is just another way to reproduce colonial inequalities and display creator bias, especially since AI reflects the past rather than the future, even though it is considered a system of the future. AI learns from historical data, perpetuating past biases and power structures. But how does this show up in AI art? To illustrate the bias in data sets and the repetition of the past, I have put together a series of images produced by 3 AI text-to-image models. So these models that I've chosen were the first that showed up to me in a search, and they were freely available or offered free credits that you could use to generate a limited number of images. As you view these images, consider their similarities and consider their differences. There's going to be a lot of images. It may be a bit overwhelming to view them all, but just kind of look through them and kind of think about them a little. So, I think that there are some obvious reoccurring themes. To me, some of the images conform to some models about realism, though not all Western, like some Western ideas about realism, though not all Western works prioritize realism, many did. For me, the biggest shocking point really is the lack of difference. Just as like Western, and this is the wrong quote that's come up. It's an older version of that didn't get updated, so we can ignore the quote. But Giorgio Vasari talking about Italian painters usually, they looked at the world around them, and so did many artists. But there's a lack of difference in these images generated by AI. I find that the images can be somewhat representative of Barbies. So they've got different skin tones, but often the same base models. For me, the main question that rises is, are these features dominant simply because they represent a combination of the most prevalent art from that country, or is it just a representation of the database available to its system? Now, to look into this question a bit further, I'm going to be using Indian art as a comparative analysis. Well, I can't cover the full history of Indian art in the next 5 minutes. I've selected some examples. So the first evidence of art in India comes from rock paintings, with the oldest being the Bhimbetka petroglyphs in central India, dating back to 290,000 to 700,000 BCE, and the earliest known sculptures were created by the Indus Valley Civilization between 2500 BCE to 1800 BCE. In the 6th century BCE, the rise of Buddhism led to religious-themed art, often in the form of stone and bronze sculptures. Sculpture was a common practice among Indian Buddhists and Hindus, with Hinduism continuing to be the main focus of art for centuries. A major example is the Ajanta caves, which have been regarded as masterpieces of Buddhist religious art and the extant of Indian painting. They start from the 2nd century BCE to about 480 CE and onwards. The example on the screen is a tale of Visantara Jataka, who is known as an incarnation of Buddha. This is one of the first examples I've shown here where we're starting to see some big difference, unlike the AI renditions. They're showing complex visual scenes, there's a difference of people and skin tones. Another style of Indian painting, more accurately described as folk art, is called Madhubani. Examples have been found as early as the 8th or 7th century BCE, and it is still practiced today. The piece is shown on the screen. There's a date unknown, but the two of them are most likely contemporary examples. By the 16th century, art flourished under the Mughal Empire. The 18th century saw British establish art schools promoting European styles and blending local and foreign influences in some Mughal paintings. However, European influences did begin earlier. The paintings on the screen show differences in face shape, skin color, and clothing, and even make an effort to name the individuals which write on them, which I've highlighted in the middle there. I think probably the easiest one to see is the one on the gentleman wearing white that's kind of on his shoulder. When we look at modern Indian art, a wide range of examples exist. Nundala Bose, who lived from 1882 to 1966, was a pioneer of modern Indian art and made an effort to minimize Western influences. Additionally, he would use his works to revive classical Indian culture and comment on political events. Amrita Shergill, who lived only 28 years, from 1913 to 1941, aimed to depict individuals in her local town. Though early in her career was influenced by Western post-impressionism style, later in her career, after visiting the Ajanta caves, she wanted to return to what she believed was a more classical Indian style, changing her mission to express the life of Indian people. Shergill's work here depicts South Indians, who often have a darker skin tone. In India, lighter skin is prioritized and considered more beautiful. Though these ideas were around before British colonization, they were further perpetuated afterwards. So in Shergill's work, it's important that she's depicting a part of India that's often hidden. Now, we have finally made it to contemporary art. Bharti Kaur, who in 1969 uses Hindu mythology and repetitive items such as bindis to use her work to unite contradictions of gender, species, race, and societal roles. So now that we've seen all these, let's compare them back to the AI-generated images. While some elements may represent Indian works, they often look what I would look more like European paintings of Indian subjects. For example, we can see the often inclusion of Taj Mahal-like structures and architecture, often which highlights the Western image of India. So the point I'm trying to make with my presentation in total is that AI images, especially from the software, like things that I've looked up, don't really depict much difference. Indian art, as with other art, is filled with different styles, different skin tones, different religions, different ethnicities, and different experiences. AI art doesn't seem to display this difference, displaying an image of sameness and erasing what I think makes art so exciting. Decolonizing AI and AI art is a necessary task to promote diversity. It requires continuous efforts to update and diverse data sets with global perspectives and assess some of the biases inherent in AI systems. The journey to decolonize AI intersects with broader movements to decolonize art history. As we've seen through the lens of Indian art, understanding and appreciating the rich, diverse traditions is crucial. Thank you.